Hey everyone, welcome. While things are getting, on and all of the technology is connecting together, I just want to say hello and welcome to the Wednesday live stream. For those of you who got on here early to check in with us, I'm so excited to have you. And you can also see that right here, I have got Carl Broadbent, also known as
Corn Broadband.
Corn Broadbent. Well, Carl, I'm so excited to have you here. We have had this in the works for maybe a month or more. We've had this on the calendar, and I'm excited that it is finally here and happening. Before we jump into the chat, I have a bunch of stuff to talk to you about, and I'm like I was so animated already, like getting warmed up, that I know this is going to go really well today. But I wanted to say hey to Helen, who I think was here first today. Welcome, Helen. Thank you for jumping on. I also see Phil and Gabrielle and Infinite Dreams and Margaret. Margaret is crushing it in the Mega group last month and then has rejoined us again this month. So cheers to you. And Adrian, who is also putting in the work. Jason and Sue. Man, just all of these like content crushers are showing up, which is amazing. There's Alexander. Hey, Alexander, I wanted to let you know that I was looking for your message. I didn't see it yet. So if you need me, please email me. Look in the About page here on YouTube. I have a business email there. And if I missed it, like let me know in the chat, because when people say, hey, I really need to talk to you, I especially folks who are in the Mega group, I want to talk to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. There is Niche Safari Chris. What is going on? Chris, I wanted to say I saw your vlog that you posted either yesterday or the day before, and I really liked it. I really liked the breakdown of what's going on. And for folks who haven't checked it out, I highly recommend that you go over there and see it. So, Carl, for folks who don't know you, please give us, the 30-second elevator speech. Just who are you and why should people tune in to watch the rest of this interview?
I'm just somebody who decided to get into online marketing and building websites. Actually started watching one of Alex's video over at WP Eagle. In fact, he's just brought a video out now of like a 4-hour tutorial. Did you see it? Mm-hmm. And he's featured me at the front of it. Now, that was a total shock. I had no idea that was happening. And literally what he said is true. I just came on one day and just thought, I want to work from home. I want to do something online. I've always been in retail. I've always had either businesses, physical bricks and mortar businesses, or and I just thought wanted to. It was in between jobs, and I just thought I want to get out and do something different. So I watched one of his tutorials for about 4 or 5 hours, and then actually built a website. I couldn't believe it. At the end of the day, I'm the least technical person in the world. I mean, Phil's in the chat; he'll vouch for that. If it's technical, Phil does it for me. So I don't know how I did it, but I managed to build a website, and I actually added quite a bit of content to it, and I actually loved it. I thought it was really good, and I was just shocked when it started to make a couple of sales. It was just really, really random stuff and terrible probably content, but I loved it. It was great, and I did that for about 6 months and thought, right, okay, this is possible. You can do this. Never thought I'd do it for a living, mind you. My actual thought was, I'll build a website, and if it gives me $10 a day or $10 a week, I'll put that in a bank account or in a kitty, and we'll have a nice holiday every year from it, or we'll do something as a family. And that quickly grew and snowballed, and to the point where eventually I won the competition with Income School, and that's when it absolutely exploded for me.
Well, I have to say that is actually where I first saw you, because at the time I was consuming content from Income School, and so when I saw you on YouTube, I was like, that really looks like that guy. He's like the fishing, the fish website. I was like, is that the same guy? But it honestly took me a long time before I connected the dots that it was the same person. But I remember seeing that.
I mean, I actually I didn't really know. I knew who Income School was. I was following all their videos, but I didn't know how big the was at the time or anything like that. So I was at work in the canteen when somebody came running in and said, you've won. And I was like, I didn't have a clue. And there was like, you've won an Income School competition. I was like thinking, yes, a car, a house. What have I won? $100,000. I don't know what have I won.
And what you won was 2 American dudes coming to your house.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Literally just rocked up. Yeah, after I think he crashed his car into curve about 3 or 4 times on the way from the airport to here. Lost his way. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I won. But to be honest, that was better than anything, because that, I was thinking about it today. There's been definitely 3 points in my kind of journey of the last 3 years. And watching Alex's video was number one, because without building that website, I wouldn't have done anything else. Number two, winning that income skill competition. I think, and then number three was watching Adrian over at Hasta La Vista. I watched one of his videos where he was sat in the car and he was saying, I've just worked 13 hours, 14 hours, and now I'm going to go home and I'm going to do an hour on my website. And he was kind of the one that said, like, wait a minute, I work 60 hours a week, but this guy does as well. And he can do it, so why can't I? So yeah, I was working full time, supermarket manager, 60 hours a week, full corporate stress. I mean, it is full on. And still managed to come home every night and do a couple of hours on the website. So that's really how it started.
I really have to think that story, because it is so, one, authentic, and two, it's real life, right? Like, people could put themselves in your shoes, because a lot of people are in that position, right? All of those things are totally relatable. It seems almost obvious to me now, looking at your journey, why it is that your YouTube channel is growing. Like, why it is that you could go from not very many subscribers to over 3,000, and your videos get a lot of views for a channel of your size. Like, you have just over 3,000 subscribers, but your videos get thousands of views.
Yeah, usually within 48 hours, I get about 1,500 views on a lot of them. I think my highest is about 7,000 or 8,000, but
which is awesome.
It's fantastic. And like I say, I think it's just because I've always said on my channel, I mean, I don't know if this will change, if I carry on with YouTube or whatever, I don't know if that'll change, but I've always said I'm not going to try and teach anything. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. And if what I'm doing helps you or you get something out of it, then great. I mean, I released a video the other day and somebody was really nice and commented and said, I love the video and I love what it was all about. He said, but I actually got more out of it than what you thought. And it wasn't the topic. It was something you did and you said about in your research or what you was doing. He said, and I never thought of that. They said it wasn't even part of your video really, but that I got that out of your video. And that's great. And that's what I said exactly. Well, I'll show you what I'm doing. If you pick out any little golden nuggets or anything, then great. If it helps you, fantastic.
That's really interesting. I was having a conversation with someone else recently about what we call, I put up in air quotes, like value. We say we launch a course or a blog post or a YouTube video, and we have an idea of what the value is in it. And maybe we might think that is a high value video or a piece of content or a low value video of content, but we don't always know necessarily what people are getting at the other end, like what the actual value is. And in that case, like, that's a prime example of why it's so important to just push content out there, with I think your heart in the right place, because there's all kinds of value from all kinds of sides that people can get from your content.
Yeah, I think also I interact quite a lot with people. So I ask them, what videos do you want? Did you like that video? Did you not like that video? I've tried everything. I've tried, little quick tutorials. I've tried big, long content. I've tried all sorts really. And I just like the feedback. If somebody says, can you do some videos on keyword research, or can you do some videos on silo structure, or whatever it may be? And that's kind of what I do then. But I'll only say to them, I'll do it if I'm doing it in my business. So if you want to know something about a website structure and I'm doing a website with that kind of structure, then I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll explain what I'm doing. It might be the right way, it might be the wrong way, but I'll show you. And if you can pick anything out of that, great.
Awesome. Well, I want to jump over to the chat really quickly and say hi to some folks who are jumping on. I'm seeing more people going on as the notifications have been blasted out. I see Steve, what's going on? And Jason, thanks for dropping in. I see Zach Ben. Zach, you are someone who is new, at least to me, and to sort of my ecosystem and community. It's great to see you in a chat. I would love to know more about you and what you're working on. So if you could just throw that in the chat, then I will know. I'll have some frame of reference. I see Alex from WP Eagle dropping on, and I'm going to get my high-tech sound effects out for you, Alex. Ready? Welcome, Alex. And Alex is actually planning, and I don't know if this is okay for me to say it, I'm just going to do it, but Alex is planning on sending me some merch, and I'm planning on like wearing it like right here in the stream, because I love supporting each other. And plus I just love merch. Like, I love swag, like of any kind. Like, you do not know how excited I get when somebody's like, hey, I'm going to send you a t-shirt. I'm like, yes, $7 t-shirt. Like, I cannot wait till this arrives.
I'm still waiting for a mug. I mean, I've known Alex for years now and I still haven't got a mug.
Well, I just can't wait. You know, it's like there is like prime like branding space right here. Like maybe I should have my own merch, but for now in the interim, if somebody would like to have this space on the coffee cup and maybe the bottom.
Well, you've already got the Star Wars, so that's you should be getting some money for promoting Star Wars. Yeah.
You like my art over there? This is my my kids doing we're in the Star Wars like mode.
We've got stuff all over the place as well. So that's what you get from this is the life of a YouTuber, you know, streaming from a bedroom and in a kitchen, and you know, I think there'll be a queue for the toilet very soon that'll want to come through here. Don't worry.
I was hopping over to the chat, and what I see is Chris saying, yeah, YouTube viewers aren't shy about telling you when they don't like something. And I want to share a comment with you that I received recently. It was, I'm not going to shout out who it was, but it was an individual who commented on my videos, and he said, on my Amiga month 1 video, which I felt really good about, and I was excited about it. And he writes, no longer a fan of this channel, unsubscribing now. And I was like, all right, well, thank you for being so polite about it. I guess there's so many things that you could have said, but like, what is the motivation to tell me, right? Like, you have a problem with my content or you're no longer a fan? Like, is there anything constructive? Like, hey, you're out there, I don't like this, or, you know, they just want to say, hey, I'm going to just give you the last shot right there. Like,
it's across the whole of YouTube. It's funny you should say that, because I don't usually let comments stick in my head or anything like that, but there was one yesterday. I went over to Morton's channel, and he's obviously released his course, and he's got a nice little deal with his OIC going, where if you get into his course, you get some extra freebies, and that's a great little deal for his subscribers. I thought it was fantastic. And I just commented in there, I just put, well done on securing a great deal for your community. That's all I put. Yeah. And a woman underneath put, so Carl's a scammer as well, who pushes overpriced rubbish. I was just like, what? I'm unsubscribing now to you both. Oh, bye.
You know, but I really think that's a good point, though, that people who are just getting started, who are concerned about, you know, what's going to happen when I go out on YouTube, and I don't want to do things that make people unsubscribe. But actually, it's really good when people unsubscribe, because those people, one, are never going to buy anything from you, right? They will not leave anything positive on your channel or encourage you in any way. We should be doing things purposefully, not like trying to offend people, but like being yourself, like unapologetically, because eventually that's going to come out, right? Like, I'm playing like I know what I'm doing, and eventually it's going to come out that I don't, and they're going to unsubscribe later. So why not just like start from the beginning with, okay, only gathering the people around me who like what I do. And if they don't, then repel them, like do everything possible to just find your tribe, whatever that is. It's cool if I'm not your tribe, but wherever that is, like, go to it.
Yeah. I think that's why, like I say, when I set off, I've said, like I say, I'm not going to do tutorials. I'm not going to teach anybody how to, you know, transfer domains and all that lot, because, you know, I'm rubbish at it. So, you know, all I'm going to do is be honest and open. And if somebody doesn't like that, then, you know, they definitely shouldn't watch me. But, you know, I always say, if you're tuning in to learn how to, I don't know, do coding and CSS and all that, you're not going to get it on my channel. You're going to get me talking about my daily life, what I do. And if it's boring, you know, but that's what it is. You know, there's enough channels out there, you know, if you want a tutorial to build a website, go watch Alex's channel. You know, if you want SEO advice and stuff like that, watch Sean Mars and Chris and, you know, experts like that. They're great. You know, so I just wanted to create a channel where, you know, I just documented my journey, but probably in a little bit more detail than a lot of people do. So I do try and dig in a little bit deeper and see if it helps anybody out. But it is basically just what I'm doing every day.
Yeah, well, at least people don't call you Mark Zuckerberg every other day. To be fair, all right, that is all right. I feel like that I'm ahead, at least in that.
We could get called worse, so Alex should take that one. Leave it there.
And then Infinite Dreams talks about, for some folk, this is the only way that they get their voice heard. And I suppose that's true too. It could be that these people on the other end of this digital communication, maybe this isn't the issue, right? Maybe it's not your video. Maybe there's something else going on in their lives, and this is the only way that they can get out and, you know, and have somebody hear them. So
it's really hard not to kind of engage with them, though. It does. Sometimes you just want to fight back, and you want to let rip, and it's just like, oh, I've just wasted half an hour of my life talking to somebody who's in such a dark place that they have to jump on a YouTube channel and slate you. You know what I mean? So I try not to, but I've had the odd one or two where it has bit, and I have bit back.
And then Alex needs a limited line of mugs with your mug on it and a piece of corn on the other side. I think it should be on the inside, so as you're drinking, it like slowly exposes your face in the bottom.
Well, that'd be scary for sure. It'd probably sour the milk with that.
Oh, Stiggs asks, Carl, are you still cracking about the oxygen builder? Let's get to questions.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I only love it because it's super fast, super clean, and Phil does it for me. So, Phil, if you're in the chat, love you a bit, mate. Thank you. So, yeah, I work very closely with Phil on a lot of projects and stuff, and yeah, we help each other out, and you know, he knows the ins and outs of it. And you know, when COVID's over and we can get together, you know, probably show me the ins and outs of it. But the theme, well, it's not a theme, it's a plugin. It's super, super fast, and it's just insane. I mean, my biggest site has got 300 articles on. You know, there's 400,000 words, God knows how many images and videos, and it loads it under a second. So, and on the core Web Vitals, it's like pretty much green. So, you know, and we've got that running on a couple of sites. So,
question: are the ad placements a bother with that builder?
No, it's not. No, it works just the same. In fact, I've not actually tried Ezoic on it yet, so I'm letting that site grow until I do that. So we'll see if we encounter anything. But Phil's got other clients that have it, and I don't think there's an issue.
So as far as ad networks go, at this point, you've probably used AdSense alone, and then Ezoic, and then Mediavine.
It was AdSense, moved to Ezoic, got to 25,000 page views, jumped over to Mediavine, got to 50,000 page view, well, more and more. Left that site on there, then started new sites and went back with Ezoic.
Then let's talk about each one of them, because we're going to have people who are on the stream maybe now or later who are going to be on each of those. So let's talk about maybe your top tip for folks who are on AdSense. Maybe they can't move yet to Ezoic, or maybe they don't want to use Ezoic, or they're just not in that space yet, but they're on Ezoic on AdSense for whatever reason. Maybe they can't get approved for other networks. You know, looking back, is there anything that you could say or recommend, or any sort of advice for folks that are using AdSense you can remember, because maybe it's been a long time?
I don't think I did anything with AdSense to optimize it, to be honest. It was just literally stick an ad wherever I could get it to go. And I didn't play around with it as much as I probably should have done. And to be honest, at that point, I was only earning, you know, maybe $1 a day or something. So it didn't seem worth diving into it. If the site had been getting 100,000 pages, because there are still some people who get a huge amount of traffic and still just have AdSense, which, I mean, it seems crazy to me, but yeah, they're happy to do that. But yeah, I would have just played around with the settings on it more. I just literally clicked activate, pasted the code in, and whatever it did, and that was it with AdSense.
You know, I really think for folks who, I mean, there's some folks who have sites that just can't get approved for other ad networks. Maybe they have content on it that is okay with AdSense, but is not okay with other ad networks. Like I have a site that can't get approved for other. It was a site that I bought that came in a package. And at the time I didn't know. I just thought, oh, well, and it does actually fairly well with AdSense. The RPM is up over $20, right? It gets plenty of traffic. So, I mean, it's doing well on AdSense, but it's never going to go anywhere else unless I dramatically revamp the content. So for folks who are just with AdSense, what I would definitely recommend is that people work on, I guess, taking the ideas and the theories that these other ad networks are using, like testing different ad spots and see how they perform. So putting in an ad code yourself and then letting it run. Not just a day or two, but a couple of weeks or a month at a time, and see, how does this work out? What is this particular ad unit doing? And then doing more optimizing. Because what I see people doing is what I probably did a lot, which is just put a couple blocks up there, like 3 or 4, and then go, well, that's it.
That is literally what you do. I mean, with AdSense, that's all I used to do. Just used to log in every now and again, see how many pennies was in there, and that was literally it. So I suppose if you was at the point where it was making hundreds of dollars a week or a month, and you can make a few adjustments, and suddenly your income goes from $100 to $120, you're going to play around with it more. But when usually most people are with AdSense, they're only making such a small amount that they don't investigate it, don't play with it, just leave it.
All right, so let's move to the next ad network. What is a tip or something for folks who are either looking at Ezoic or are with them currently that you can say from your experience?
Ezoic is basically just dive into the data. It's definitely one of the best platforms there is for their big analytics. Looking at individual page level, that's what you need to do, and particularly focus on maybe your top 10 or top 20 pages. It's amazing the amount of traffic your top 10 or 20 pages will be getting. If you can make a few tweaks on that and get 10, 15% extra income from them top 20 pages, that can be substantial. I mean, for somebody who's earning a few $1,000s a month, you could, for a few tweaks, increase that by a couple of $100. That's what you need to do. But certainly look at the individual page level rather than your site.
Okay, well, what kind of tweaks then? You're like, oh, I'll just go there and I'll do tweaks. Like what? Like what would you do to try and make those pages earn more when you're already, using the, it's optimizing the ads for you? Like what can you actually change that causes those pages to earn more?
So you can look at the content. So you can look at the paragraphs. If you've got a lot of bold paragraphs, you can end up splitting the paragraphs down. If you've got bullet points, you can split those up. You can try a different format for those. If you've got images, you might have a ton of images on there that's taking up ad placement spots. So maybe, do you need all them images on there? So you can remove some images. You can throw some more ads in there. Also the wording, just the actual font size. I remember one of my sites, which is actually with Mediavine, was getting, it had like the really small font. I don't know, maybe 12 pixels, whatever it was. And we increased it to 18, which created more space on the page. Yeah. And my income jumped up by like 20%. And at that time, it was, I think the website was getting like 100,000 page views. So it was substantial. It was an extra $100 or so a month just from literally changing the font. And
so that caused people to stay on the page longer. And so it gave what adds more time to refresh or to load, or, like the video player on the bottom, it just gives it more time to run through the ad because people are just on their phone, like scrolling for longer, but they still feel good because they're getting their content. It just, they just have to scroll more to get there.
Yeah. And it read, the article read better. It was easier to read. So it looked better. Didn't look as squashed and as crammed. It created more placements. It's just a simple thing. Change the font size. I stopped using bullet points and I put them into individual paragraphs instead of bullet points. Removed a few images. I know I actually went through a lot of testing at one point where I removed all images. I remember, I think it was one I watched, maybe John's, one of John Dystra's videos. I think he said a lot of his posts don't have any images because it's just taking up ad placement space.
It's so funny about him because he also says, I do lots of images, and he does that because it also draws people down the page because they have to go past the images to get to the content. They're like, oh, it's not an ad thing. They're like, oh, it's an image. And they just have to keep scrolling. So
he's one of the best for testing though. I don't know anybody else who tests as much as he does. He has sites that has 100,000 page views a month, and he just uses it for testing. He doesn't care what it brings in. He's just like, I'll just throw this on it, do that, and test it. And I believe that's what we need to do more of. Everybody needs to do more testing. If you're not, brave enough to try and get out of that box of creating this certain content, this certain word count, then you're in the wrong business because you'll get so much revenue, you'll get so much success, and that's what it'll be. You just narrowed yourself down. I mean, I was right in the camp of doing 2,000 word articles, 2,000, 3,000 word articles. And it was only from, I went on a call with a gentleman called Laurent Borelli from SEO Conspiracy. And he was so kind to you. We had like a 3-hour call, and he's a very private man, in his own personal life. And it was great to talk to. He's one of the best SEO guys like in the world. And first thing he said to me was, he looked at my website and he said, "You're a 2,000 to 3,000 word guy." And he went, "Tuh." And he was just really disgusted with me. And I was like, why? You've got to do 2,000, 3,000 word count. And he was like, why? I said, because you have to. That's what ranks. And he was like, prove it. And I was like, well, I can't. He said, well, I can prove you don't have to. And then he started showing me some examples. So I did a batch of articles that were 800, 900 words maximum. That was it. And they did phenomenally well. And I would have normally done 2,000 or 3,000 word count. So I was scared to death to publish an article that had like 700 or 800 words.
Yeah, well, what if you do something that doesn't work? Oh my God, right?
Exactly. You know, and don't forget, I did a video about it, and I was saying to everybody, try it. It's only going to cost you $10 or $20 to have 700 words outsourced if you can't do that yourself. So what you're risking $20. Have a go, you know. So, and they're actually some of my best performing articles are still under 800 words. So, and that's not on a huge domain authority site neither. These are pretty average rated domains.
Really quick, I'm jumping over to the chat. What I'm looking is I see some folks who have dropped in. I see Paul. What is going on? Paul, again, is posting regular updates in the Mega group, and he's actually one of these guys who's doing videos. So I just want to like send as much love out there to Paul, who has really jumped on and has been okay with being vulnerable and sharing his journey. He's got, I think, 10 subscribers now, which took me forever to get there.
I'm one of them.
Me too. Okay. I also see Will, who is in the group this month. And I also see Zach is telling us a bit more about himself. Thank you for sharing. He's actually from Morocco, which is a place in the world I would love to visit one day. I also see Kassar and Margaret. Welcome, everyone. So next tip. So we talked about AdSense Ezoic. So what about Mediavine? What is a tip for folks that are either headed to Mediavine or are in Mediavine?
Mediavine, I don't have a lot to do with ad placements. Mediavine are literally hands off. You just say, there's my website, I'm at the criteria, and you get approved, and off they go. They optimize everything. Videos, for Mediavine, is one of the strongest platforms for videos. So video content that they can then place an ad at the start of the video, at the end of the video.
So it's their videos or your video?
Your videos.
Your
so
video.
if you've got a YouTube channel, you've got some videos on there, you can put them on and they'll run the ads on the videos. Or you can create a video around a topic. So I was telling somebody the other day, so let's say you got a pet website and it does dogs, cats, fish. I would produce one video, say, for dogs, saying, would you like to own a dog? You'll need to do this, you need to care for it and all this. Like just a generic 45-second video. And then you upload it to Mediavine's dashboard. So it's hosted on Mediavine. So it doesn't have to have a YouTube channel. You don't need to be on there. You just upload it to their dashboard, and then you assign it to certain posts. So certain posts that have got maybe a tag that says dogs, and it only plays on any post that's related to dogs. And then you get a really high RPM for that because it's very, very targeted. And video ads are really sought after by the businesses, so they pay a good premium for it. But then do that across all the pets. So I'd have one video for cats, one video for dogs, one video for fish, rabbits, etc. So you don't need that many. So you say you've got 10 pets on there, you just need 10 videos, 45 seconds long with lots of wording. So not so much voice. The voice doesn't matter. You don't need audio, just the wording. So, 3 million people in the UK keep dogs. Just little facts, nice little quick facts, A dog might live to 10 years, be responsible for its upkeep. So that's all you do. And the ad revenue is amazing. And I love it. I've uploaded to one site about 7 videos and I've never changed them, never touched them. I just uploaded them two years ago, and they make about $100 a month every month and has done for a couple of years. So their video side of it, the advertising is brilliant. And also their images. They do one called an overlay. So you may have just your normal picture of, let's say, of the dog, and then somebody like, I don't know, a dog food manufacturer just puts their logo in the bottom corner, and that's it. And you get a stupid amount of money for a little logo on your picture. So yeah, with them, I'd definitely go videos and images with Mediavine.
Will asks, are you planning on switching from Mediavine to AdThrive in the future?
I would, if I have a bigger site. So 100,000 is the criteria to get on there. I won't move a site from Mediavine to AdThrive. I love the Mediavine community. Their Facebook group is one of the best I've ever seen. It's very well moderated, and it is full of absolute experts, particularly in the travel and the food blogging sector. There's some incredible numbers. People post some of their figures in there, and it's astounding. So I won't move the site from there. But if let's say my mega site gets 100,000 page views, then yeah, I would consider putting it on there. But I've no reason to move one off of Mediavine to put onto AdThrive. I don't think it's going to do that much difference, to be honest.
Just real quick, jumping into the chat, Karar says that he was subscribed and turned the bell on, wasn't notified. And yeah, it's because it's a small channel and YouTube hates us when you're small. We always start at the top of the hour. So even if you don't get a notification on Wednesdays, just come here at the top of the hour. We are going. I see Recreational Combat jumping in. Hey, Helen. Hey, Corn. Hey, Emilia.
Hey.
Stiggs asks, are you sipping vodka with your coffee or rum? And the answer is I am not, because it is in the morning here. And if I want to get anything done, I cannot drink in the morning because I will be asleep. Like my bed back there, like I would go from here, this seat, directly back there. And so
I think a drunken stream would be interesting.
oh my God. Well, definitely not advertiser friendly. I'll tell you that. So you mentioned your mega site, and so it's funny because I have a mega site and you have a mega site. And in fact, last month you jumped in and put your name in on the spreadsheet. So technically you could have had a mega or a mega
mega. That's what hey, I've got a website. That's it.
So talk to me then. What is something that you have learned in the journey of creating your mega site?
Ooh, what have I learned? At the minute, there's not a lot of data to tell you what I've learned. I've learned that I've spent a lot of money. I know that.
Okay, well, that's something, right? You learn that creating a mega site is probably a longer undertaking, right? Like the wins aren't as quick when you're headed for a mega return.
Yeah. The niche is so broad that I mean, it's a flip of a coin if it's going to work. I mean, I've put the research and the time in. Me and Phil have built the structure of the site, so it's all within a silo structure. So it's all they say silo. It's basically good categories. So we've made this site as easier as possible for Google to come over and know exactly what I want it to rank. It's simple. I mean, the way this website's built and the time it took us to do it, if Google lands on that website and does not know what page I want it to rank, then Google is useless because it is so well structured that it should just flow very naturally. So the hardest part about this, what I've learned, is putting the team together to build such a venture. It has been a nightmare. And my writers, if there's any in the chat, you are fantastic. Thank you for bearing with me. They get a million emails literally every week saying, do this, don't do that, do the other. But I've learned a lot from that. And if I was ever to do that again with a fresh team, I've learned a lot about sort of management and team management that I never knew before. I just thought I could just randomly send out an email and somebody do what I say. And
no.
No.
Stiggs asks, are the individual articles in the sandbox quicker on a mega? And I'm not sure if I understand what he's asking, if they get out of the sandbox quicker or if they index more quickly and then are aging. I mean, where are we going here, Stiggs? What do you think he's asking, Carl?
So yeah, I think he thinks with the size of the site, will it bring them out of the sandbox quicker? And the answer to that looks like no. The domain is a little bit aged, so it was about 6 months before we got the first piece of content on there. So this is the first time I've ever done that. So I was hoping that I would put a load of content on there and it would instantly come out of the sandbox and start ranking. But it looks like it doesn't. It looks like no matter, unless you've got an aged domain that is actually getting traffic and it's always been getting traffic for years, then that might be different when you put content on it. It might kickstart it back into life and you suddenly get going. But I think with a brand new domain, even if it's been sat around 6 months, a year, then it doesn't seem to have much effect. It looks like we're going to go through the natural 6-7 months progress of getting these keywords and articles out the sandbox. But also the indexing. I mean, Google,
I was going to ask, because this last year, I mean, it wasn't a regular year for indexing and for articles once you post them to get into the search, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've just commented on. I've just watched Chris's from Niche Farah. I just watched his video and I've commented on that. I know he has one site that he's just having a nightmare with. He just cannot index them. I've got a site like that. It's got about 40 articles on, and just 30-40% of them just will not index. Manually force them, do whatever you want, just doesn't pick them up. So there is a big issue with it. The early signs on this site is that, I mean, I think it's doing okay. I'm tracking about 200 keywords. there's probably 300 on the site, but I'm tracking 200 of them, and it's what we're now 2 months into it, and I think there's about 25 of them that's been picked up in the top 100, and I think there's probably 10 or 15 in the top 10. So we've got articles in the top 10 that are only 2 months old. So that's a really, really good sign. But it looks like the bulk and the majority of it are going to wait the 6 months, and then hopefully they'll come out. But I mean, with the amount of words and content on there, if at 6, 7 months I don't see that going, then I'll be shocked, because there's a ton of content on there. So I would expect traffic to suddenly just start really flooding in. Oh. Hey, listen, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, lesson learned, mega sites don't work. Well, we'll find out.
Well, a more important question is, Will is asking about your handicap, and I assume we're talking about golf and not maybe some other personal condition. Let's just assume it's golf.
Yeah, so it was 15, Will. I don't know what it will be now after about 5 or 6 months of not playing. So, I was playing off 15.
Hey, Bo, what's going on? Thanks for jumping on. For folks who are not subscribed to Waves and Websites, Bo is over there shaking things up, and I have a feeling that Bo is going to have some cool content coming in the future for his sites and for his portfolio. So subscribe to Waves and Websites if you are here and you have not done that already. I see Chris talking about indexing, and he was talking about trying a free service called addnewurl.com to see if it helps with my indexing issues. And if you're here in the chat or you're catching this on the replay, let us know if you've ever heard of this service or if you have ever used it, so we can crowdsource, any sort of response about it. And if Chris, you use it, come back and report to us. Sue says, one of my articles in my Amiga site just went to number 2 on Google today. That is totally worth it. I don't want to blow out Derek's eardrums. Derek, if you were catching this on the replay, I think of you literally every time, because Derek said that one time I blew it right into this thing, and he had his earbuds in, and he said it like almost exploded his brain. It was so loud. I see Infinite Dreams mentioned that he tried a service similar to that, and it did not work. I see Commit coming on, and Commit, I just wanted to shout out and say, hey, what's going on? He did jump on Adrian's live stream a couple days ago, which I thought was awesome, because I've never seen him jump on. I think his name is Sean. I think it's Sean, but it was cool to see him on the stream. And it's just, I like it when people in our community jump on and do these things, because we talk to each other a lot, but it's very seldom we get to see each other's faces or hear your voice. So you just kind of guess what people sound like. And then you see them on the screen, and you can compare the mental picture you have built of them and see if it matches how you actually see them.
I think the worst for me is I've got a Discord group as well. So between YouTube, Discord, and Facebook, everybody seems to have different names on all different platforms. So it's I'm talking to some people, and I'm like, I do apologize if I don't recognize who you are. Stuff, but everybody has so many different aliases on social media.
Yeah, I'm trying to use my name now, but on Reddit, I use books are my life with underscore between each of them, because I set up Reddit before I set up this. And
well, I was trying to get known for carlbroadbent.com, but now it's going to end up being cornbroadband.com.
Well, look at this. This is the Corn Gardner show.
I actually do show up in YouTube. If you go use TubeBuddy or anything, Corn Broadband shows up. So, and it's under keyword research, so I'm all right with that.
See you later, Alex. Thanks for dropping in. I'm still me. Let's see. So I see you guys doing so well, and then there's me waiting for my first $20. So here's the thing, right? When you do the comparing thing, because I waited for my first $20 for a year. All right. And so I was in year 1, and it was garbage. And then year 2 was pretty still close to garbage. And so, I mean, I had some progress in year 2, but year 3 is where things are really seeming to gel. So just don't compare yourselves to where we are, because you can't. It's not fair to you to do that. It's going to happen if you stick with it. Just stick with it, my friend.
I think you got to remember as well, we all started exactly where you were. We were all chasing that $20. Like I say, I started off wanting to earn $10 a week, and then it just, it suddenly just starts happening for you. So none of us started earning good money right at the beginning. So just keep going. We've all been there. We understand it.
I mean, we understand it so much that it's almost like PTSD in a way. It like drives us back to the computer because none of us want to go back to that feeling in the beginning, or like you don't know what's going on, and you're like, is this going to work? And it feels so just so hard in the beginning, like mentally, like the burden there is so challenging. You can see why a lot of people don't make it.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I mean, I think, I know it's a cliche and says, you learn by your mistakes, but when Income School came to my house, my biggest website at that time was a health related website, personal to me, very personal to a condition that I have and my son had. And we built this website up together as a kind of a family thing. It was great. And I thought it was the best thing out there, the best resource. And it did help a lot of people. And it still does. The site is still live. And they came to me and just said, you won't take this where it needs to go. You won't do it. You haven't got the experience. You haven't got the funds behind it. You need to let it go. And I was just shocked. I was like, what? 2 years of my life into this. It had like, 100 posts, something. I thought it was one of the best resources out there. And they just said, cut your losses, just sell it. I mean, not that it was a bad site. It is still a good site and it still does well for the owner now. But they just said, for you personally, I don't think you're going to be able to take it to where you want it to be. Because they knew I wanted success and they knew that I wanted to try and get that success at that point pretty quickly, because I was maybe a year into it. So they knew I wanted to kind of speed up the process. And they just said, this website won't do that for you. It'll be a long slog. You need to stick at it for 2-3 years. And they was, we can get a site for you earning maybe double, treble that within, less than a year. So I was like, okay, but that was hard. That was so hard to let go of that. That really was, So I don't class it as a failure, but it's certainly a lesson learned.
Gabrielle says people in the Mega spreadsheet should put their YouTube channel next to their name. And I do think that folks who are in the group who have YouTube channels, it would be awesome to know like who is who. But there's also a few people in the group who have recently started YouTube and they are posting in the spreadsheet that they are making accountability videos, but they don't share them. I can't find them. And I understand for folks who are just getting started, they might feel shy, because one thing I've done to support those individuals is I have shared those either in a community post or talked about them in the stream. If folks want to post accountability videos and they don't want me to share them, that's fine. But I would love to share them. I would love to help. And I would also love to see them and support the folks who are just getting started. Because I think so much of YouTube, of like going on YouTube and having YouTube be like an accountability lever. Paul's doing it, and I think it's really helping him also to keep going, just because you're putting yourself out there and being accountable. So folks, if you feel comfortable, share those with us, because we would love to come and check them out. Let's see. Ramesh says, any tips for outsourcing content other than buy, sell, text?
I've used all of them. I've used iWriter, I've used Upwork. You can find some really good writers on any platform. iWriter, I found that what tends to happen when you use that service a lot, the writers reach out to you. They track you down. They know what content you're doing. Obviously, they just Google search what they've written and they can find what website you're on. So I found a lot of writers came from iWriter because of that. Upwork, I thought it's hard work to trawl through all the responses that you're going to get. So that's a little bit more hard work. Facebook groups is one of the best. Just post in there, could anybody help me with some content? I need a few articles writing, and you'd be amazed how many people can say, yep, I can write, or I can help. Yeah, I get it. I get every day. And I'm not kidding, literally every day, can I write for you? Can I write 2-3 articles? Will you test me? And I often say, sure. Yeah, why would I turn down a good writer? Have a go. But it is hard to sometimes turn around to them and say, I'm sorry, it doesn't meet the standard, I'm afraid. So that is hard. But it's a business. I can't afford to pay bad writers when I've got good writers on my team. So it's taken me 3 years to build a team of 7, and they are 7 kind of the best. So I'm happy that, but I've spent a lot trying to find good writers. So I must have hired on Upwork 30, 40, and I think out of my team of 7, maybe 1 is from like Upwork. So 30 or 40 writers to find one really good one.
What's your thoughts on Google removing the cookie?
My thoughts is we can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's to track the behaviors of customers and shopping habits and stuff like that is not something I'm really going to be able to do. So I'm going to leave it to the ad partners and stuff to come up with a solution for that, because if I worry about it, what am I going to do? Just grind my whole business to a halt? Just, cookies are coming, just stop. Just carry on as normal and we'll deal with it when it happens. If it was something that I needed to do, so if let's say Google was saying, if your page speed is not like, incredibly fast, we're going to wipe out your website, then I'd have to do something about it. But with this, it's out of my control, so there's not a lot I can do.
Stiggs mentions his comment, and I forget, I'm not sure where Stiggs was inserting this, but he said, except when there's 20 ads and just kidding. And the reason I wanted to pull up this comment was because I frequently on my main channel, which is linked in the description, I post a lot of interviews. And lately, the last 2 interviews that I've done, and I've never had this happen before, I've had a lot of people complaining about the number of ads that are popping up in the middle of the interview. And I've always gone with the auto ad function, just click, on, and then not worried about it. And it's never been an issue. And what I've seen now is that I will have an ad like every other minute when you automatically upload those things. So first of all, I'd want to say, I'm sorry, guys. I don't set that up on purpose. And so now I've been having to go and basically manually delete those ads, and I've never had to do that. So for those of you who are creating long form content, I don't know if it's because my channel has suddenly gotten big enough. They're like, oh, here is the threshold for it. But checking when you are monetized and then you hit publish on it, go and see which ads have been added. That's not something I've ever needed to do and never gotten complaints about, but it actually makes me want to create long form content less, just because it seems like a lot of people are either bouncing off, they're like, oh, it's too many ads, and then it's hurting the metrics. I would rather put time into content that people will actually enjoy. So I just don't know if you've seen anything like that on your channel. And Stiggs, thanks for mentioning it.
I've not had any comments about the ads at all, to be fair. I play around with it. Sometimes I go into it and I try and manually place the ads at certain strategic points, and that normally gets caught out. People say, right at the moment you put an ad, Carl, brilliant, thank you. So I've stopped doing that. I just literally let it place its own. I've not had any comments. My only thought about that with yours is, could you go to the setting where it's asking you to manually place them, but not place any? So,
I'm certainly, I could just turn off mid-roll ads, and that might be the solution to that, is just not have any mid-roll ads. But I can go in and then just delete them down. So I put 2 or 3, and it literally in an hour-long interview, it had 20 ads. It literally did 20. Yeah.
Right.
And it was like, I don't know how that could possibly, how YouTube could think that this is going to be good for. And they want people to stay on the platform, right? They want people to stay in the video and to watch as long as possible. And that seems like a practice that would cause people to either bounce out of the video or just be like, off. I'm going to go do something else because the ads are so annoying.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, I don't do any videos that's an hour long or live stream. So yeah, I wouldn't know. I've tried to change my content a little bit in the last few weeks, really, to be more basically like my blog posts, shorter and more to the point. I do have a tendency to waffle on a little bit, and so I'm trying to cut out the fluff in my YouTube videos. So I'm trying to get them to kind of 7-8 minutes and just keep them around there. So, and I'm also, it's just the editing and the filming with lockdown and how we are with the family. It's so hard. It's incredibly hard. Full credit to Alex, who just brought out that 4-hour tutorial. Can you imagine editing that? 4 hours?
I can. It would take me like a month straight.
I think it's took him a month, maybe even longer. Yeah, to do it. That is just incredible. A lot of hard work.
Infinite Dream says, I'm glad the cookie is going. Now I don't need to invest in a cookie policy. Making life easier.
There you go. There's always a glass half full.
Zach goes, do you guys make a list of what you're going to be writing about for the entire week or month, or you just go with the flow every day? What I will say before I kick the question to Carl is I write more when I laid out what I'm going to write about. I write less when I go with the flow every day, because if I don't have a plan, then I will spend a lot of time researching. Like, oh, what am I going to do today? And then, I'll like, oh, well, let's this keyword and that keyword. And then I'll literally write one article in 4 hours when I could have probably written 4 or 5 in that same amount of time if I had done the research ahead and just said, all right, this is it. This is the cluster. I'm not going to do any more work on trying to figure out if it's the right one. So for me, I definitely try to have a list. Like I constantly have lists and things. Like this is today's list right here of like the stuff that I want to get done. And then I just try to stick to that and don't deviate, because if I do, I waste a lot of time. What about you, Carl?
I used to in the beginning do a lot of spreadsheets for each website and do all the keyword research even before the website's built, and then work off that spreadsheet. But the only problem doing that is obviously keywords and rankings change. So that spreadsheet, when you actually start to write it, could be 4, 5, 6 months old. So the keywords might not be as relevant as they were back then. So with my smaller sites, just weekly, I'll just go in, have a look, do a little bit of research, assign a few jobs to some writers. With my bigger website, I've created, it is a spreadsheet around the main subtopics where all the writers have access to it. So there's 7 people in there, plus a VA, plus proofreader and stuff. So there's like 7 or 8 people that have access to that, and everybody just dives in. And it's took a lot of time to get it to work, because it's simply a case of just saying, right, when you choose a topic, just make it yellow, and then I know it's done, or you're on with it. And then when it's published, we go into it and we change it to green, and then it's a simple process, right? But often people don't change it to yellow and it gets written twice, or but it's the only way on a big site that we can do that, because there's, like I said, there's going to be 4,000 articles on it over the next few years. So there's no other way than creating a huge sheet that everybody has access to, because otherwise every Monday morning I'd be emailing 7 writers, a big list of I don't want to do that. Just they're all on there. Just go in, write it, make it yellow, job done. So yeah, but with smaller sites, just literally what comes to mind. Sometimes I'm just randomly, something comes to mind, and I just jump on a site and do a little bit of research and just add one article, just put one on there. So
yeah, that's the question, Carl. Do you still write articles, or are they all outsourced?
All outsourced. I'm lazy now. I tell you what it is, my writers are 10 times better than me. My writing and my spelling, and my Helen's my proofreader. She won't mind me saying that. Helen will tell you how bad my writing is. If I put an article in the mix and say, Helen, there's 50 articles on there, I've wrote one of them, she'll spot it within minutes. And then I will just get a barrage of stop writing, don't do that again, Carl, leave it to the professionals.
Helen says, all already spelling. Oh, Chris says, Zach, I have an endless list of keywords to write on and just choose one each day and smash out an article. Mm-hmm. Paul says, Carl, how are you adjusting to leaving your job and going full-time blogging? Is it as good as we all think it would be?
It is, and it isn't. And it isn't because there's a lot more pressure now. There's a lot more pressure in this business. So before, it didn't matter what I do with affiliate blogging and marketing, and it didn't matter. If I earned $100, that was $100 extra I didn't have. So there was very little pressure on me. And when I had a successful month, it was a real success, because that was I got my salary and that just jumped on top of it. Yeah. So now there's a lot more pressure. The other thing is obviously the time I chose to do it, right in the middle of lockdowns and COVID and stuff. It has been tricky because obviously we've had homeschooling and we're all under the same roof. There's nobody out. The way my house and home structured with my family is that normally, the wife goes off to work at like 7 a.m. The kids go off to school, and I've got all day in the house on my own to write and do my business. That hasn't happened.
Not at all, right? Not a single day.
So here was my plan. This was my life as a blogger, right? To get up around 7 o'clock, have breakfast with the kids, send the wife, the kids off to school, do 2 or 3 hours, break off for lunch, go play around, a quick round of golf, few holes, a snack in the bar, come back, do another few hours, then put tea on around 3 or 4 o'clock. The family come in, we watch telly, we have a great, that's it, perfect. It hadn't happened.
Oh, like for me, when my kids are there, like I'm in it and there's no like working. And when the kids are gone, it's like I'm on the computer at 8 a.m. and I work 12 plus hours to the end of the day because I'm not, this thing isn't where I want it to be yet, but I see now what's possible and I want it so bad.
Yeah.
I want it so bad. Like I can't even communicate to you and to anyone else how badly I want this to work. Like it is not hard for me to get to the computer to get motivated. And that's hard for me to understand that folks are like, oh, I just couldn't get to the computer today. And I understand there's a lot going on in life, but I want this so bad. Like I will not do other things because I want to get here because I just, I know, I believe now. In the beginning, I don't know that I believed. Maybe I hadn't, had enough proof of concept, but I know it works now. And I want it so bad.
For anybody who, like say, is just starting out, once that first little bit of success comes in, out that little bit of money or that first article goes to #1, that's the light bulb moment where you go. And for me, it was a case of, I'm like kind of a numbers and a data kind of guy. And all I thought about is, okay, it's just maths, is this? This is just maths. I've got 10 articles on my site and it's just earned me $5. So I actually need to put 20 articles on, or I need to have 2 sites with 10 articles on. And it just seemed the logical thing that the harder I worked, the more success I was going to get. It was simple as that. There was no way was I going to be able to do it part-time and have the success that I wanted. And I had to throw everything at it. And it's true, the harder you work at it, the more you go at it. And that's what made me come home from a 12-hour shift, like say, in the supermarket, and see the family, the kids for literally half an hour. They went to bed, and then I would stay up till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I would get up at 6 a.m. and write an article before I went to work, before there was even up. And I just kept thinking to myself, if I just write 1 article a day, or if I just get 2 articles a week out of it, I'm one step closer. I'm nearer. Without doing anything, I'm not getting any closer to it. So that's, once you get a little bit of success, it does spur you on. It really does.
Stiggs asked, he says, I'm anxious to see the hack site. Are you doing video embeds on each page for each post? I think it is a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. So the plan with that is that I do want to get videos on it. Absolutely desperate to do another YouTube channel, something really random that I can throw any kind of video and hack on it. And, let's see what happens. And the plan is obviously the weather's terrible here, snow outside and stuff. So the plan is to kind of get out in the garden, do a few experiments and a few hacks and a few, little tricks and stuff, and create some videos and embed them on the post. I'm going to make the post as unique as I can. So to start with, it will probably just be more images that I've taken myself and step by steps. I won't be using stock images. I will try and do as much as I can. I said this in the video yesterday, if there's a hack about getting paint out of your carpet, I'll find a piece of carpet and I'll drop some paint on it and we'll take some images. But if it's, how to repaint a yacht quickly, then that's going to be tricky, because I don't own a yacht.
Yeah, well, that sounds like like getting arrested. Like I'll run and like throw some paint on there and clean it off, and then
it's for a video, honest. So obviously, when we got the restrictions and we can get out and take some photos and get out. You're
gonna go out and throw some paint on some yachts.
Yeah, well, if I can find one in the middle of where I live, it's we're pretty far from the sea.
Steve says, anyone else getting fed up with their brain being so over analytical and caught up in too many doubts, details, learning to just do it lately? I mean, I get there and I just got to get to the computer and start at the top of my list, because if I spend much time thinking about it, I won't start. And so just go to the list.
I write everything down, even if I get a lot of thoughts through the night and I literally jump out of bed and I have to run down and write it on my list, because it drives me crazy. Because like I say, my brain's going over everything.
I put it on my phone so I can sleep.
I've got my pad's over there. I've got a pad and I have to tick everything off. And if I don't tick it off, then it gets moved to the next day. That's absolutely fine. Nothing I do is under any time constraints. That's the good thing about this. I can do what I want when I want. Like I say, unless like this website giveaway case study I'm doing, I have set myself a few time constraints with that. So I am anxious to get videos out on time with that. But other than that, my normal business, it grows at the rate that I want to work at. So, but yeah, I do have to write everything down and tick it off. I'm meticulous about that.
Just a comment to ask your wife before you start ruining the comment. The
Yeah,
carpet.
yeah. It's the idea came for that one because I did get some paint on the carpet, but I did. Yeah, so that's where that hack came from.
The answer is clear. You will have to buy a yacht.
I love sailing. The wife gets seasick, so she probably won't let me.
Recreational Combat says that he's writing his next article as he's writing the stream. And I think that's a great idea, actually, because the stream is like an hour long. That could be a whole article. So I frequently will work with the stream on in the background. It keeps me like I have something engaging, but also actively working. And seeing there's about 30 people on the stream right now, I have a feeling that there's a lot of folks who are doing the same. And actually, if you can hear me now and you are working on writing an article, drop us just a note in the chat and let us know that you are doing that. We're getting to the top of the hour. How are you doing on time, Carl? You got an extra minute or two?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah.
Awesome. Gabrielle says, Carl, can I embed any YouTube video or do I need permission?
YouTube videos, you can embed them. Yeah, that's the public consent. It's there's no copyright infringement on that as long as you embed it correctly. Rather than you're not allowed to film the video, so you can't screen capture it and do it. You have to embed it.
Or download it and then re-upload it as your own.
Yeah.
Occasionally you will get grumpiness from people who are like, hey, you're using my video on this other website, using my video on your website, take it down. I don't think they can make you do that.
No, they can't. No.
But they can still like hassle you. And if somebody were to do that for me, I would probably just take down their video, because if they want to hassle me about it, fine, I won't send traffic to your video. I won't let people see this.
Yeah, I thought I was doing you a favor by getting your views and, but yeah,
I guess though, the point would be for creators is making sure that you at least have some branding in your videos so that if people are going to be embedding your video elsewhere, so they know it's you, right? Yeah. So that it's not just like they could pass it off as their own. Just that's a great way to say, okay, well, if my video is somewhere else, at least people know that that's Emilia's video. I'm Emilia here on my own brand, and they can't just put it in there and then maybe I'd actually get something out of it. Just that. Tosh, who is in, and I haven't had a chance to say what's up to, he just mentions you can embed the video as part of the standard license. And Recreational Combat says, I've had a creator thank me for embedding their video. Chris says, I do that with WP Eagle live streams, and right now I'm uploading content from my writers. Bo says, working while listening. Margaret's doing keyword research. Good on you folks.
It's working. This is great.
Rick, who I haven't had a chance to say hi to, is currently in his managed WP dashboard. Guys, I just love seeing that you are getting stuff done, like multitasking while we are doing it. Gabrielle asks, is there a way to embed just part of the video? And I'm not sure that there is.
I don't think so.
Although YouTube has talked about getting ready to release a feature where you could do just like say like clip like part of it, like you could share just the clip, like the funny part of me like dropping my phone or like falling over in Ron's stream last week. You could just clip that part, and then if people wanted to watch the rest of it, then they would have that link to the main.
But my son told me that. He came running downstairs last night. He was telling me about it. And he said, you're doing something new. So I
think it's cool. It's like you can do it with your videos or anybody else's videos, and still just having more content that people could engage with on YouTube, which I think is pretty cool. Adrian asks, are video embeds helping with ranking? And I don't have any data one way or another about this. What do you think?
I am the same. I don't know how anybody can track that without publishing two pieces of identical content, one with a video and one without. I don't know how you can track that. If somebody else asked me, about the latest post widgets, at the bottom of articles, do they help you? And I use them, and I try and use them in a constructive way. So if a particular article's, let's say, about dogs, then I try and add latest posts only about dogs. But again, how do you track that? How can you say, hand on heart that is working? And a lot of this is something, I was going to mention. I was talking to somebody the other day about this. There's a lot of myths that go around blogging and SEO that this works and this doesn't. And it's like, where is that evidence? Show me. Where's it coming from? We believe, you have to do 3,000 words. Do you? You have to put videos in every article, you have to have images. Do you? You know, it's where is all this information coming from? It's somebody starts it off and it snowballs, and before you know it, it's myth and legend. You know, there's no proof behind it. So experiment and test. That's all I can say.
Folks are talking about you can create a timestamp link so you can post the video, embed the video so that it will start at a certain point. There's several comments. Like you can set it to where, so if you wanted to start the video at the part where you do the tutorial about the keyword research so that the video would start at that point, which is valuable. Helen mentions that she's not working, and that just sounds decadent. It's sort of like, I would imagine taking a nap in the middle of the day or eating chocolate, like just sitting and listening to a live stream and doing nothing else. Like that seems
she's
like
she's not working because I'm on here, so she's getting I'm not pestering her. Helen, help me with this. Helen, help me with that.
Will says that he can't work and listen to live streams, has to be music without words. I mean, it can be distracting. Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. But the multitasking is, Helen says she's on that. Let's see. If they watch the video, will it count as time on page? So I think if they're on the page on your blog and they click on the video and it plays in the embed, like they don't bounce away, I think that it will increase the time spent on page. And then if you do something else on the site, whether or not Google will count it as a bounce, for example, if you just go back, you know, how will it log it? But I think that it will help with the time on page if you do something that Google can mark as being able to track that time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would be, let's say they landed on your page and after 10 seconds they hit the video, and then they watch the video for, let's say, 10 minutes. If they bounced off that video, didn't come back to your site, would it class as just 10 seconds on your page, or would it be 10 minutes and 10 seconds? I'm not sure.
So with analytics, and this is me, and people can feel free to jump in and like destroy me, but I think with analytics, when somebody goes to a page on your site, like let's say they run the SERP and then, you know, like how to clean cats' ears or something, and you go to the page, and then if they go back, then Google is going to mark that as a bounce and won't log the amount of time that they were spending on the page. Like it marks it as a 0, 0. So you could have people who spend 10 minutes on the page. Maybe they click the embed. They don't do anything else on the site, but they look at the embed, spend 10 minutes on there, and then bounce backwards. My understanding is that analytics logs that as a 0 per time on page. And so the way that you need to be able to get that time logged is that people on your site need to click to something else, like go to the home page or go to another article for them to log the time on page. Am I wrong?
I'm not sure myself. I would like to. Phil will probably know that.
Phil probably knows. I'll kick that to the experts. That's just my understanding. So, I mean, yes, it could help time on page, but if people just bounce backward at the end, I still think that it will count as a 0, 0, which is why I just don't think that the average time on page metrics in analytics means very much, because and that's why I actually like Ezoic's time on page, like their bounce rate and their navigational bounce, because it tells you just more about what people are.
Exactly. I mean, I often put videos in when I put less images in. So I very rarely do have a post that's got 5 images in, then embed a video as well. It'll usually be a case of I will leave the images out, but embed the one video because it catches their eye and it keeps them, like I say, keeps them on longer. So
there is a call in the crowd for you to start live streaming. I mean, you're such an engaging person, and you already have like this persona. Like you could use like corn and waffles. You could be the corn waffler, right? You're like, oh, this is me and my waffles waffling on, like cornmeal waffles. Like, are you going to start live stream?
I've always said that I will at some point. do you know what? I just don't know why I'm not. It's probably a lot easier to do that than, you know, I spent today like 6-7 hours doing a 5-minute video, you know, so it's probably a lot easier just to click live and sit in front of the camera, you know. So
it is. And people are way more forgiving about it because like you're live. So if you get it, you know, wrong, or you're like, oh, give me a second while I do this other thing, they are not forgiving if it's a pre-recorded video. If you have like 2 seconds of silence, they're like, cancel. But on the stream, they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit through this while you get up and go to the bathroom. You're on like for 2 or 3 minutes. They're like, oh, well, I guess I'll wait.
I think I will definitely be doing. My sons are desperate for me to do it. They're all the time. Why are you doing them? Why are you doing them? So they are pushing me to do them. There's just so many great live streams out there. That my only thought is that, you know, just what can I provide? You know what I mean? Apart from having a quick, chin wag, as you learned today, is a natter.
I have never heard the term chin wag. I'm like,
do you know natter? Do you know what natter is? So okay, right, a talk. So chin wag, natter is just conversation. So
what does natter mean?
Natter is a chin wag. It's just like what we're doing now. We're having a natter.
So could we just say we're talking like
we could do, but where's the fun in that? So yes, to answer that, I will do a live stream when it will be.
Look at this, we've got a name. The corn stream.
Corn stream. But now Chris is going to want a share of the. He's going to patent that, and I'm going to have to pay him, and also.
Oh my gosh! I can't wait. The corn stream. Even if you don't call it the corn stream, everybody's going to go behind your back and call it the corn stream.
Join in at 6 p.m. for Corn Stream's latest video. Good grief.
I think my face is all red because I am so entertained by this.
This is all Adrian's fault, and he didn't even know that he'd said it or done it in the stream. So he didn't call me corn broadband. He called me corn, and then somebody else went, "You just called him broadband," and he went, "No, I didn't." And then somebody pieced it together and said, "Why don't we just call him corn broadband?" And then it stuck. So.
Oh, Jason says, I want to see a live stream with Carl just eating corn for an hour and not talking.
That's my first one. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit there.
Oh, ASMR. What about this? It says, I even have a t-shirt for Corn's Broadbent. So then the t-shirts will be so easy, right? You have your own merch and it's just corn.
Yeah. The t-shirt is brilliant. I would buy that myself.
No. It's like your t-shirt. It doesn't have any words. It's just got like the logo of the corn logo. I would buy that. I would wear that, and everybody would know it would be an inside joke.
Somebody's already said I should have a website, everything to do with corn products, corn articles, how to grow corn, how to eat corn, everything. It should be all about corn.
A cornucopia.
That's even better. That's it. Join me on Corncopia tonight. We talk about corn.
Oh my gosh. Well, folks, I think there are some questions that we have not had a chance to answer, and I'm sorry about it, but we've got to wrap up. Thank you so much to Corn Broadbent for being here. I cannot wait. Foot corns.
Corncopia coming soon.
All right, I see one last question. Ramesh has asked it a couple of times, and Helen was reminding us to get to it because she is so organized.
Thanks, Helen.
Popcorn, a question. Wow, Carl, what would you do in this situation to make more money? Have a site making $400 to $500. Would you increase the content on that site or build a new site side by side? What would your suggestion be?
It depends how much $400 or $500 means to you. If that's a good part of your income and you need that to live on or you need it to pay your expenses, then stick with that and build that out further. If that's an extra income and you can afford to reinvest that, then yeah. If you're at the point where you start another one, then that's absolutely fine. But starting another site is costly. You're right back at the beginning. It's right back at the very start. It's going to cost you money. So, to start a new site is going to cost you pretty much a lot of that money. So that means a lot to you. Stick with it, grow that one out, get that big, get it to a point where it's valuable to sell even, and then you could start 2 or 3 sites. So it just depends how much money that is to you.
For me, if I would be looking at the stats on the site that's already making money, if it's on a ramp up, like the content is ranking really well and you see a traffic growth that looks like this, I feel like that's a time to pour time and effort into the project. Now, if it's going like this, it's headed down, not much of what you're doing is having an impact. That might be a good time to start something new, but it seems like there's a wave to be ridden there. And if you were to start a new project, that you would lose momentum on that site that was in that growth curve, especially if making more money soon was important to you.
Yeah. If you just wanted to make more money quickly, you won't be starting a new site because you're another 6, 7, 8 months before you'll see anything. So if it's just to make a little bit more money quicker, stick with what you've got.
Let's see. Stig says corn band was a bad food. High fructose corn streaming. Massive concert for 2021 Corn Aid supporting. Oh, and then here comes Jesse coming in to check out the chat. And Jesse, I recommend that you go back and watch at least the last 15 minutes for all of the corn broadband jokes. Before we wrap up, Carl, when can we expect your first live stream? When, let's just put you on the spot and say, when is Cornade coming, and can we hold you to streaming? Will you join us?
I will do a stream, and I'm going to set. I'll do a stream, and I'll do it in March.
March. All right. So a regular stream or just a stream?
I don't know. I'll just click live and see what happens.
So then why wait till March? It seems like we could stop this, and then you could turn around and be like, oh.
I have so much going on. I have a website giveaway to build. I have a website to build that I'm going to give it away. I've got my mega site. I've got so much going on at the minute. It's the family focus is the main thing. Just let's get the kids back to school and the wife to work, and then I'll be a free man again.
Streaming is somewhat addicting. I'm just going to tell you, because like right now you're creating videos, like a 6-minute video. You spend 4 hours on it, or you could spend an hour to make an hour-long video, and then you're done. You're like.
Yeah, I still have that. I still have the tussle with YouTube versus my websites. It's a big issue for me at the moment, because like I said, so many big projects going on. I've not invested any money in YouTube, and I've invested almost tens of thousands of dollars into a website, and I often neglect that to make a YouTube video. It is a bit of a balance for me at the minute, so a live streams might be the easy one. Just like I say, hit record and go. And
there you go. Well, before we wrap up, I want to point people to the links in the description. We're not selling anything there. The link is to Corn's regular YouTube channel, where he promises to start live streaming in the next month, because March is a month from now. I also want to point people to my main channel, where I'm posting videos weekly that are not live, because I'm doing all of the lives here on this stream. Also, a quick plug for the podcast. Last week, I posted an interview with Below Average Blogger. That's our colleague and friend, blogger Mike East, who is on the hunt to build a YouTube channel and also to earn money with websites. And Carl, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun. I'm literally going to be like finishing the stream and then like, when can we put you on the schedule again? You should come back.
It's my pleasure. Do you know what? Before we came on this, I said to my wife, I love going on this one, because I just know this will be a laugh. There's no pressure. I know we can talk about anything and just have a chin wag.
Chin wag. Well, we definitely talked about anything and everything.
Sorry for anybody who wanted affiliate marketing advice.
the corn stream. All right. Well, everybody hit that thumbs up before you head out, and then we will be looking for the corn stream. And I literally want that to be the thumbnail.
I'll have to get a good background and everything. There'll be a field of corn, everything.
Children of the corn. All right. Gabrielle, Jason, Kieran, Helen, Chris, Sue, Stiggs, Phil, Will, Adrian, everybody, thank you so much for watching. And folks, we will be back here next week on Wednesday. Same time, same place, all of the things. All right. Take care, everybody.